Happy Thursday and welcome to your weekly briefing on SWB News Watch. I am Shimala Chike. Thanks for joining us tonight. Every week we are bombarded with a host of bad news, but amidst that, God has been faithful with a steady supply of good news. For this edition, our good news is about the Chinese brethren we told you previously on SWB News Watch. In a report that has been confirmed by multiple news sources, the 63 members of the Shenzhen Holy Reformed Church who were recently beaten and detained in Thailand for visa violations have departed the Southeast Asian country. The group arrived in the United States on Easter Friday. The Shenzhen Holy Church, also known as the Mayflower Church, is a congregation of Chinese Christians who had escaped persecution from the Chinese Communist Party. The congregation had long hoped to ultimately resettle in the United States, but members said they were repeatedly told that the chances of them being able to do so as a group were minuscule. American activists assisting the church say the United States government, particularly the State Department, played a significant role in liaising with the Thai government on deportation arrangements to ensure that the congregation would be sent to the United States rather than China. Pastor Bob Fu, lawyer and Texas-based human rights activist for China Aid, thanked the several international agencies which helped with the case, including International Religious Freedom Alliance, led by UK MP Fiona Bruce and Lord David Alton. In his words, "This is a successful example of non-partisan international cooperation. I'm so thankful to all parties, including various U.S. government agencies. We are truly honored to be part of this miracle. We will not rest until religious freedom is fully realized in China. God bless America and the persecuted church." Unquote. The group will resettle in Thailand with the help of Freedom Seekers International, a Texas-based nonprofit that helps people fleeing religious persecution. According to the Wall Street Journal, Chinese Christians have been known to flee abroad individually or in small groups. Human rights advocates say the Shenzhen Church is the first known to have done so en masse. We have more persecution matters in the United States. In the latest wave of Christian persecution, CBN News reported that a widowed Oregon mother of 5 claims the state denied her application to adopt a pair of siblings because of her religious beliefs. Attorneys for Alliance Defending Freedom filed a federal lawsuit against the state on April 4th on behalf of Jessica Bates. Bates, who is a devoted Christian, was widowed after her husband David died in a car crash in 2017. Even though she's busy raising 5 children, ages 10 to 17, on her own, she wants to open up her home to children in need. She applied to adopt a sibling pair who are generally harder to place, but the Oregon Department of Human Services, ODHS, denied her application because in order to adopt children and give them a loving home, she would first be required to adopt the state's pro-LGBTQ views on sexuality. The ODHS requires that people seeking to adopt must, quote, respect, accept, and support the sexual orientation and/or gender identity of any child who ODHS could place in the applicant's home. The guidance obligates parents to agree to use a child's preferred pronouns, take a child to pride parades, or facilitate an adolescent's access to medical interventions like puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. During her application process, Bates alerted the ODHS that she will happily love and accept any child, but she cannot say or do something that goes against her Christian faith. She told Fox News during an interview she was several months into the adoption process and had successfully completed a portion of the training when the state told her she had to support its guidance. According to the ADF, ODHS policy penalizes Bates for her religious views, compels her to speak words that violate her beliefs, and deprives her of equal protection of the law because of her faith. ADF legal counsel James Wildman Delphans said, and I quote, "Oregon's policy makes a sweeping claim that all persons who hold certain religious beliefs are categorically unfit to care for children. That's simply not true. Oregon is putting its political agenda above the needs of countless children who would be happy to grow up in a loving Christian home like Jessica's." End of quote. What are your thoughts on this news? Let us know in the comment area. In a major development in Nigeria, not fewer than 80 minors who went to the bush to pick firewood were kidnapped by terrorists in Zamfara state. The incident, which happened at Wanzamai village about 8 a.m. on Easter Friday, left the entire village in fear and confusion as every household was affected. Calls put through to the police and government officials over the incident were not successful, Vanguard newspaper reported. However, parents whose children were among the kidnapped told the BBC Hausa service in an interview monitored by the Vanguard correspondent that the hoodlums kidnapped their children, both males and females, while on an expedition to fetch firewood. A woman in the Wanzamai village said her 15-year-old daughter was among those kidnapped. In her words, quote, "We are worried because we don't know the condition of our children in captivity," end of quote. Meanwhile, Newsday gathered that when the DPO of the local government area identified as Kazim Rahim received information about the attack, he mobilized his men and some local vigilantes to repel the bandits. The DPO, a sergeant identified as Rabiu Bagobri, and a vigilante identified as Shehu Chuka were killed during the counter-offensive. Confirming the tragic incident, the Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer SP Mohammed Shehu had said police authorities in the state were currently in Maru for an ongoing on-the-spot assessment. Zamfara has been an epicenter of kidnapping and other criminal activities perpetrated by criminal gangs, often challenging the state and local authorities. Our next highlight is from the Premier Christian News. The report reads that a Lutheran pastor from North Dakota, United States of America, has caused a stir on social media after comparing the plight of the trans community to Jesus being betrayed and crucified. In a viral video, Pastor Micah Luwagi can be heard making the comparison and likening it to the treatment of Audrey Hale, a 28-year-old who killed 6 people at a Nashville Christian school last month. Pastor Luwagi made the remarks during an Easter sermon she delivered on April 2nd. She told the St. Mark's Lutheran Church congregation that, quote, "Instead of focusing on ways this could have been prevented, such as gun control, a significant number of people have turned their attention to the shooter's identity. Some folks have tried to focus on eradicating trans people as a solution because they have been waiting just for a reason, any reason to stoke their hatred," end of quote. The pastor then criticizes those who abandon and betray transgender people, comparing them to Jesus' disciples who fled when he was arrested. She also compared the Pharisees' treatment of Jesus to politicians legislating against drag shows and transgender athletes. The video shared by Twitter user Woke Preacher Clips has garnered over 130,000 views at the time of this report. Now to our final story, Reverend Dr. Hakam Samson, former president of the Kachin Baptist Convention, KBC, has been sentenced to 6 years in prison by a court in Myanmar on charges of unlawful association, defaming the state, and terrorism. Samson is an internationally respected advocate for freedom of religion and human rights in Myanmar. He was arrested at Mandalay International Airport on 5 December 2022 while attempting to travel to Bangkok and has been held in prison since then. The court in Mitikia sentenced Samson under the Unlawful Association Act, the Penal Code, and the Terrorism Act. He serves as the chairman of the Kachin National Consultative Assembly. Benedict Rogers, CSW's senior analyst for East Asia and a friend of Samson, condemned the sentence. In his words, and I quote, "This sentence is an outrageous travesty of justice. Reverend Dr. Samson is a completely non-violent Christian pastor and a brave and tireless advocate of justice, human rights, and peace. He has been jailed simply for courageously speaking out against the Myanmar military's barbaric atrocities perpetrated against the people of Myanmar," end of quote. Rogers called on the international community to act and intensify efforts to apply targeted sanctions against Myanmar's illegal military regime until all political prisoners are freed, the military ceases all attacks, in the ethnic state, and Myanmar is placed on a path of genuine federal democracy. We've come to the end of this edition of the SWPN News Watch. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Till we meet next Thursday 9 p.m. I'm Minchi Malachke. See you next time.